Good morning. Some things on my mind as I rise this morning, not new thoughts, but reinforced. Reinforced by what I saw play out yesterday in OpenAI's much anticipated, long awaited live streaming event, which launched GPT-5. Very, very, very powerful model and tool for us all to use. But the question that was reinforced for me is, how do we, as individuals, as professionals, and as collective businesses, preserve and project unique value at a time when AI can build anything for anyone at any time with potentially as little as a single prompt? Now, when they started that live streaming event, they immediately took aim at software engineering. That's fine. I understand. Your question might be, well, can you really build apps like that? Yes. Yes, you can. But again, is there a law of diminishing returns? There are a lot of people who can poke holes in vibe coding. I believe that you can move vibe coding to viable coding. You've heard me say this before, through the right process. And what I watched play out, I think, is absolutely feasible. But how do you preserve unique value? I heard immediately following that we've entered the age where you can have solo entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, become billionaires overnight. Is that possible? Yeah. Yeah, I believe it is, but there are only so many billionaires that can be made. We live in a world of limits, and that's not worked out real well throughout history. So I'm concerned about the societal impact. How do we prevent ourselves from becoming completely financially, emotionally, spiritually bankrupt on the other side of being able to speak things into being, like we watched yesterday in that live streaming event? Well, I'm going to quote Stephen Hawking. All we need to do is keep talking. All we need to do is keep talking. Well, he said something amazing happened when we as a species began doing that. It unleashed the power of our imagination. Even some of the great physicists have recognized the value of imagination, this murky place that things begin to form in our mind. And it's our responsibility to bring those things into being. Now, the tools that we use to do that, take your choice. A few years ago, when people began using LLMs and understanding, wow, there's a pretty powerful ability here for technology to converse in a way that feels very human, people were getting better results who formulated their questions, their comments, their prompts, who built context in that conversation best. Basically, people who already had a gift for communication seemed to get better results out of these things. And you had the big push for prompt engineers. Become a prompt engineer. And I was skeptical of that. Because I felt like, well, the machines are just going to continue to get smarter. They'll get better at inferring what's being requested, kind of create their own prompts. And that mirrored even what Sam Altman was saying at the time, and I think others who work with the technology directly were working towards. I think we've seen that play out. Individual subagents, specialized to do tasks, they need context as well, and we see far better results agentically. We even heard in the demo yesterday that what we were watching play out was a better agentic workflow to produce an end product. If you start from a single prompt, then it's having to infer a lot and assign those specializations. So that's my guess of what happens under the hood. But once again, is there a law of diminishing returns that comes into play? And we've been, as a society, outsourcing our imaginations now for quite some time. We outsource it to social media. We've outsourced it to talking heads on cable news. And we're going to have to learn to think for ourselves again, I think, before we can survive in a world of thinking machines. And it comes down to preserving and protecting our imagination. But to project that, I think, requires in every area of the enterprise engineering context. Engineering context. Let the tools build our dreams. That's fine. It's a fantastic technology. Why not take advantage of it? But it has to build from our unique perspective, our unique experiences, and we've got to learn how to communicate those in the way that the LLMs can consume, build out the specializations of the individual agents. And as we approach AGI or superintelligence, we've got to set the context because we are the ones who have the imagination. That is what I believe makes us uniquely human. Others might disagree, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I think that's what counts. That's what's important right now. But even as we consider this world where people ask rather than search, we are living in, or we'll be moving into an answer economy. Even questions like how do we maintain visibility when people aren't even visiting our website? They're just asking the machines. Well, the machines are going to consume whatever context we create, and they're going to do it in a manner that we need to understand. So I believe that the way that we preserve and project unique value as individuals and as collective business is to first remain imaginative. We need people who can convey that and set the right context in every single department, every single function of the enterprise, and then let the machines go to work. All we need to do is keep talking.